The May 24th meeting of the Eden Prairie City Council will now come to order. I'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Prior to the start of each City Council meeting, we have an opportunity for Eden Prairie residents to address the Council on issues related to Eden Prairie City government. The portions of the meeting are just prior to our City Council meeting, so between 6:30 and 6:55, here in the Council chambers. If you wish to speak to us at that time, please contact the City Manager's office at 949-8412 by noon of the meeting date with your name, your phone number, and the subject matter you wish to discuss. After scheduled speakers, if we have time, we will open the floor to unscheduled speakers. These portions of the meeting are not recorded or televised. Again, if you have any questions, please contact the City Manager's office at 949-8412. We have a number of proclamations tonight, and we'll start with one which is the Senior Awareness Proclamation. And I understand that we have members of the Senior Advisory Council here to accept the proclamation. Are you in the audience?
Your Honor, I was looking for them, but I have not seen them yet.
Well, we'll still make the proclamation.
That would be great.
Okay.
We have many events that they have been actively attending, so that may be complicating them being here tonight. So.
Well, I know they're a very active group. Okay, the proclamation is as follows. Whereas the increasing number of senior citizens in Eden Prairie bring many opportunities and challenges for all components of our city, families, businesses, and government. And whereas every segment of our society is influenced by the needs, resources, and expertise of our senior citizens, and awareness improves participation and action. And whereas our Eden Prairie seniors play a pivotal role in formal and informal education, sharing years of accumulated experience and wisdom which will impact our future, and whereas the community wishes to celebrate and acknowledge the contributions and accomplishments of the seniors in our community, and recognize the organizations that serve older adults. And whereas Senior Awareness Month recognizes that seniors are an integral part of our community, now therefore the Eden Prairie City Council does proclaim May 2016 to be Senior Awareness Month. And we've had this program going since I've been on the council, which was like 1994, so it's a long-standing event, Senior Awareness Month, for the month of May. And I know we do have a very active senior group and a wonderful senior center. We even tend to attract seniors from outside of our community because we have such active programs. So we appreciate everything that they do within our community.
You've been on so long, you kind of turned into it.
I know. Well, you too. You're right there with me, buddy. Okay. All right.
That's a ooh from the
Rick?
audience.
Mr. Schuessler here? Okay, all right. We're going to skip ahead, if any of you have agendas, to item C on the agenda, the Human Rights Awards. And we have members of our Human Rights and Diversity Commission here to present 3 different Human Rights Awards. And the first award is a business award. It is going to be presented by our Human Rights and Diversity Commissioner, Greg Lepier. Greg? Pardon me, Greg Leeper. Sorry.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to present the first award tonight to World Auto. World Auto was nominated because of their inclusive, fair-minded, and above and beyond support to many residents who access the car repair assistance program here in Eden Prairie. The staff at World Auto model what it looks like to offer respectful, sensitive, and compassionate service to families who are facing barriers and are often in a time of crisis. Along with their extra-mile support to families, World Auto is an outstanding partner of PROP and has proactively built relationships with the case management team there to best serve their mutual customers. So on behalf of the Human Rights and Diversity Commission and the City of Eden Prairie, I would like to present the Human Rights Award in the business category to World Auto and Win Anderson and his team. Win, congratulations, and thank you very much for your service to our community.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Oh, they do want a picture of you. Thank you. There is another business award, And that is going to be presented by one of our student commissioners, Turner Gunderson.
Hello. I would also like to present a Human Rights and Diversity Business Award. This is going to be presented to Brunswick Zone. We would like to recognize Brunswick and their staff for being an inclusive, accommodating, and supportive business for adults and children with disabilities. The Brunswick Zone staff works with AR and LE, and that serves individuals with disabilities in the cities of Bloomington, Edina, Eden Prairie, Richfield, and Trail, which is a local nonprofit. Brunswick staff are welcoming, know many of the participants by name, and make each of their adaptive bowlers feel comfortable and very special. So on behalf of the Eden Prairie Human Rights and Diversity Commission, I would like to present Brunswick Zone with this award.
Oh, one more picture.
Turner, one more.
Thank you very much, Turner, and congratulations to Brunswick Zone. Our final award tonight in the Human Rights Awards is an individual award, and presenting that award, we have another of our student commissioners, Adrian Retzlaff.
Good evening. I would like to present the individual award to Hanadi Shadabuddin. Hanadi upholds the values of the manifesto through her work to build bridges of unity by dismantling misinformation and fear of Muslims. She seeks to counteract the negativity in much of the media by living out and speaking about the peacefulness of Islam. She is a volunteer speaker with the educational nonprofit Islamic Resource Group and visits schools, community events, and workplaces to educate the curious about Islam. So I would like to present this award to Hanadi.
Thank you. Thank you, Adrian, and congratulations, Hanadi. Congratulations to all our winners tonight. We appreciate everything that you do within our community. We do have our Heritage Preservation Award coming up, too, and I'd like to call forward our Heritage Preservation Commission Chair, Steve Olson, to introduce this award. This award recognizes an individual, family, or business that has gone above and beyond their usual responsibilities to promote, preserve, rehabilitate, or restore Eden Prairie's heritage resources. Did you want me to come down?
I have a few remarks.
Okay, good. Okay.
It's a pleasure to be here this evening for the second annual Heritage Preservation Award. I'm the current chair of the commission, and I have the good fortune on serving a commission filled with talented people. One of the things I like about living in Eden Prairie is that there are a lot of people who care about the city. The residents care, the city staff cares, elected officials care, community organizations care. Earlier this evening, we saw a great example of this as the City Center photo project was unveiled. It was a collaborative effort between an HPC member, Cindy Everett, city staff, Lori Creamer, and Kathy Case with the Eden Prairie Historical Society. The Heritage Preservation Commission has three purposes in its charter. Purpose 2 reads, promoting the preservation and continued use of historic sites and structures for the education and general welfare of the people of the city. As part of this purpose, the Heritage Preservation Award program was initiated. People are often surprised at the historic resources in the city of Eden Prairie. On the south, we have Native American resources near the Minnesota River. We have remnants of a river town and remnants of an early immigrant trail that went to Winnipeg. On the north, we have the Glen Lake Children's Camp, a camp that cared for kids and families impacted by tuberculosis. On the west, we have the Dornkemper Log House near Lake Riley. And moving east, we have historic houses and historic peonies, of course. Last year's Heritage Preservation Award winner, Marie Berger Wittenberg, provided decades of service to preserving the stories and artifacts of this place called Eden Prairie. Her books and her volunteer service help us to care for this place even more. Marie's gifts to our community were immense. Tonight we recognize another individual who has made a large investment in our community, Stephen Schuschler. In 2009, the Goodrich-Ramus barn was destined for the Wrecking Ball. A road-widening project on Pioneer Trail saw the site as a good location for a drainage pond. The City of Eden Prairie and the Eden Prairie Historical Society were interested in saving the barn. An assessment of the historic significance of the barn revealed it to have a unique roof system that provided a haymow or second floor with unusually large open spaces for its 1942 construction. Because of its significance, it was put up for bid to anyone who had the money, courage, and vision to buy it. Hopes were dimming when it seemed there might be no takers. Steve read of the barn's plight in an article in the Minneapolis Star-Tribune and stepped forward with an offer to purchase it. After several years of work and a personal investment of over $1.5 million, Steve and his team at Schuschler Creative opened the barn doors of Green Acres on March 1st, 2013, at 14150 Pioneer Trail. It is now seen as a premier event center for hosting weddings and other events. Its success is not unexpected. Steve's track record of successful business pursuits is known to many. They include the Rainforest Cafe, Yak and Yeti, T-Rex and the Boathouse in Disney World, and I'm told a second boathouse will be opening in Shanghai shortly. One of the things I did to prepare for this evening was to do a bit of reading. What I found made me believe this is the most appropriate award for a couple additional reasons. I think there are some parallels between Mr. Schuschler and Mr. Goodrich. Mr. Goodrich traveled from the East Coast to settle in Minnesota. He arrived in 1867. He was a businessman. He built a house, he built a store, and above the store, he built Goodrich Hall. According to Marie Wittenberg, here the Grange and other organizations held their meetings. There are many memories of the parties and social functions that took place in that hall. Nearly 150 years ago, the Goodrich name was associated with the building that housed social events for our community. Tonight, we recognize the preservation of the Goodrich-Ramus barn as an event center. I also believe it is appropriate that the address is on Pioneer Trail. Is not Mr. Schuschler not a business pioneer? Thank you, Steve, for caring about our community. Thank you for investing in our community. We wish you many years of continued success with the Green Acres Event Center. The recipient of the 2016 Eden Prairie Heritage Preservation Award is Stephen Schuschler for the preservation of the Goodrich-Ramus barn, now known as the Green Acres Event Center.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the City Council. You know, it's not often that you do a project like this and you have the full support of the City Council, the City Manager, the Chief of Police, the Fire Department. This is a city that works. I thank everybody that's in the audience as well. This is it was a dream to save this beautiful barn. And I didn't realize how fascinating and how beautiful it was and worth saving till I actually took a walk through it, and something came over me, and it just felt right. And every step of the way, I bought it with the original purpose of using it for cars and motorcycles, to store them for different things that we create. And all of a sudden, I started getting letters from the community saying, wouldn't it be great if you could use it for weddings or confirmations or bar mitzvahs or sweet 16s? And Sunny has taken it to a whole nother level. I'm happy to say she runs the event center, and we get letters every single week. We won 2 awards besides this prestigious award. We won 2015 Best of the Knot for weddings, 2016 Best of the Knot for weddings, and all kinds of other prestigious awards. And I think the city of Eden Prairie deserves all the credit. You guys have been absolutely amazing. I wrote a best-selling book called It's a Jungle in there. And there's a chapter in there that says, no is yes, waiting to happen. And I think the city of Eden Prairie exemplifies that saying. I thank every one of you individually. You're precious. I hope the Barden will be here for long after we're gone, and that it will be used by the city for any reason that you'd like, and for all the beautiful weddings and events that we have and memories that we share with everyone. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And thank you, Steve Olson, for that great introduction. That was wonderful. The final thing we have under this category is acceptance of a tree donation. Mr. Lotthammer.
Your Honor, council members, we have been fortunate to receive from a Eden Prairie family, the Van Langendens, the donation of 3 trees. They are Siberian spruce trees to be planted in Rice Marsh Lake Park. And we're happy that they were willing to contribute in that manner. Sometimes we receive other gifts in cash, but this is a very appropriate need for that park. And Mr. Bourne, who you heard earlier at our workshop, has selected some good locations for those to be planted.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
I would move to adopt the resolution accepting the donation in the amount of $510 from the Van Langenden family towards the purchase and planting of 3 Serbian spruce trees at Rice Marsh Lake Park.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. Wonderful last 15, 20 minutes talking about the wonderful things that people that do business in our community have done for us, what our wonderful residents do. It's really uplifting.
Definitely.
Is there a motion for approval of the agenda and other items of business tonight?
Move approval.
Second.
Any additions or deletions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes of the City Council workshop held Tuesday, May 3rd?
Move approval.
Second.
Any corrections to those? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I can say aye, right? I don't have to abstain.
You can say aye.
Okay. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes of the council workshop, or pardon me, the council meeting held that same night, Tuesday,
Move
May
approve.
3rd?
Yep.
Second.
Any corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Consent calendar. Is there a motion?
Your Honor, could we just remove F right now?
Okay.
And then I would move right now to approve the consent calendar A through Q with the exception of F.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item F.
Someone else
Needs to
I would
make a
like
motion.
to move item F.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I abstain based on my employment.
Thank you. Brings us to public hearings. Our first item is a resolution vacating public drainage and utility easements over Lot 1, Block 1, Shady Oak, Crosstown Edition. Mr. Getchell.
Mayor and Council, thank you. This is a vacation of easements related to the BP and Starbucks project that's been through City Council recently. As you know, with many development and redevelopment projects, we need to vacate older drainage and utility easements and then dedicate new ones. And the case is no different with this particular request. And it is a requirement in the City of Eden Prairie that we hold a public hearing to consider vacating easements. And as I said, it is a condition of the new development that new easements be dedicated in the place of these vacated easements.
Any questions for Mr. Getchell? This is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the audience that wants to address the council on this issue? Okay.
Seeing none, I move to close the public hearing and adopt the resolution vacating the public drainage and utility easements lying over, under, and across Lot 1, Block 1, Shady Oak, Crosstown Addition, Hennepin County, Minnesota.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. The second public hearing is the Climatech renovation. Mr. Getchell.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. You may remember Climatech here before the Council for a different purpose leading to this improvement a few months back. We supported a resolution for a partial loaning grant from the state of Minnesota deed for Climatech to move from Hopkins to Eden Prairie onto this vacant site on Washington Avenue on the eastern edge of Eden Prairie. South of 494. So tonight before you, this is simply a site plan review. That is the only action that is requested to you after a public hearing on 7 acres. As I mentioned, there will be a presentation from the applicant, but I can just quickly state, as I said earlier, that this was a one-story warehouse building of approximately 90,000 square feet, built in 1974, and there's quite a bit of updating that will occur to the exterior of the building and the architecture of the building, in addition to silo being added, which is an important part of the Climatech manufacturing process, dealing with plastics, as you may recall. There's also an updated landscaping plan that is a part of this, and meeting conditions that are part of a wetland determination. The structure does meet all requirements as part of the I-5 industrial zoning district, and the Planning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval of this project at their April 25th meeting. So as I stated, I know the applicant is here with a presentation on the proposed improvements that they plan to make, and then the applicant and city staff are here to answer any questions that you may have prior to or during the public hearing.
Hi.
And thank you. My name is Scott Ringhand. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Climatech. Climatech is a company that was incorporated in 1969. We are a 100% employee-owned company. We are a custom plastic profile extrusion company, a custom die cutting and fabricating business of all non-metallic materials. And we've been in our current location in Hopkins for the last 34 years, which obviously now with hopefully the Southwest Light Rail coming through, we're kind of put in a position to vacate. So we got to a point where we couldn't wait around anymore, and we decided we just had to be proactive and find a place. We wanted to find a home for our employees within a radius of 10 miles. That was very important. We've got people that travel from all sides, up to 40 miles currently. So this site fit perfectly, really, for what we needed, and it was 4.2 miles, and we couldn't be more excited about spending the next 34 plus years here in Eden Prairie. So with that said, I'd like to turn it over to Jeremiah Simons from our architect firm, Mohagan and Associates, and let him kind of go through the plans. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Good evening, Council. As he said, my name is Jeremiah Simmons from Mohagan Hanson Architectural Group. I don't know if you guys, do you have the presentation? You want?
Yes,
okay,
we do.
Perfect. So this is the civil work. This is the site grading. I don't know if you want to flip through this. If you guys have any immediate questions, we can answer them. But basically what we're doing is doing some upgrading to the parking. We'll be doing a couple new dock doors and doing some new glazing on the north portion of the building. We're also punching new windows on the east and creating a new glass vestibule for the building, as well as painting all of the exterior. So if you want to flip through it a little bit, I can kind of talk through it.
If you have a presentation, if you could go over to that microphone, and then you could advance the presentation. Yeah, we don't have the ability to do that here.
We have copies of the form, but we won't really know what you're referring to till you show us.
North of the building, in this section, 4 new dock doors, some new islands for parking and upgrading that parking. There will also be a new addition to parking on the east side of the building. This is for visitors and will be near that new east vestibule. This is an enlargement of that north parking. Of the east parking. We also have some landscaping plans that show planting in the islands, also at that east island, as well as around the building. Addition of plenty of new trees and plants. And then to the floor plan, like I said, there will be new dock doors in the north, as well as a silo located up here with screening, employee entrance up here, and then the office with a new vestibule. And these are exterior old versus proposed. And these are perspectives.
Can you point out what you're referring to as the silo so we can see what it looks like from the outside?
Yes, let's see if I got a good one. So on the bottom of this image, existing is on the left, and on the right is the new silo. There will be some compactors, and they are screened completely. It's not see-through at all, and it will be a structural frame with some screening around it.
So is that, does that abut the main part of the building? It's not a separate structure, is it?
It will be constructed next to the building.
Okay. So it's really not too much taller than the building height?
No, it's only a few feet taller. I would think it's about 8 feet taller.
Okay. I was just wondering about the decibel level or noise. Is there noise associated with the silo? Did you say there were compressors?
Scott would be able to answer that a little bit better, but I believe it's a pneumatic tube that feeds into the building. So a truck will come up and load product into the silo.
Yeah, no, there's no noise associated with the silo at all. The only time there would be, is what Jeremiah said, is when we get a truck that pulls in, we just hook up a hose and suck the plastic out of the truck and into the silo. Then it's pneumatically fed into the plant, and all that equipment's inside.
Sure.
So there's no noise, no.
Okay. And it's all contained.
It's all contained.
It's just,
yep.
Yeah, gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there anything else you wanted to point out, Jeremiah, or just questions?
Nope, that would be the end of the presentation.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks really nice. A big improvement over what's currently there today. It's going to look really nice. Is there anybody from the audience that wants to address the council on this item, Climate Tech? Okay.
Seeing none, I would move to close the public hearing and adopt the resolution for site plan review on 6.98 acres.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. Welcome to Eden Prairie. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Beautiful.
Looks great.
Yeah, really. We're happy you're here.
We appreciate all the support and guidance that we got from the entire staff, the city of Prairie, and all of you as well.
Well, thank you very
Nice.
much.
Nice to hear. Thank you.
Payment of claims is next. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Any items to question? Roll call, please.
Aye.
Member Butcher Wickstrom.
Aye.
Member Case.
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson. Aye. Mayor Terlukens.
Aye. Our next item is a first reading of an ordinance amending City Code Section 6.01 to 6.03 and 6.05 to 6.07 relating to right-of-way. Mr. Getchell.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight is the first reading of an ordinance, our ordinance, a right-of-way ordinance related to I think if you think about, a lot of the discussions we've had in meetings and in workshops from a city point of view, there's a lot of utility work that's going on in our community and a lot of different utility work and private work in our right-of-ways. So we felt that now would be the proper time after, I believe it's almost 10 years, to update our city code as related to our right-of-way. And this ordinance will provide, improved and updated standards for those that work within our right-of-way. And so, for example, a couple specific changes that are included in this code update, these new code sections, would be the permit application, standards for underground utility installation, standards for above-ground system installations, standards for notifications of affected property owners that might be nearby a work that's starting. Another very important one for us is standards for site restoration. It's been an issue over the years. And then also addressing if there are concerns with failures to perform that work, any work or restoration work or work related to what's happening at a right-of-way in a safe and expeditious manner. So with that, Mr. Ellis is probably your point person, as he did a lot of the work drafting this ordinance. He'd be able to answer many questions related to the new ordinance, but we think this would be a positive update to our city code on behalf of the community.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for staff on this?
Okay.
Yes, Councilmember Nelson.
How fast do they have to restore? I know I have had a couple of complaints within this last spring where, things are left over from late last summer and still not done yet this spring. Does anything address that they have to take care of it within so many days or so many months? Or
the ordinance specifically does not state a number of days that they have to restore. I do know stormwater permitting generally requires, if there's no activity within 14 or 21 days, there has to be an attempt for restoration. But we would like to handle that through the permitting process. As we're reviewing the project that's coming in, a lot of the restoration is going to depend on the time of the year the work's being done. If it's in the spring, we want to see them get on it with, put the black dirt in, lay your seed, maybe your erosion blanket, so that you can get a jump start on prime weather conditions to get grass growing again. If it's the middle of summer, you're starting to lose that opportunity to get a good bed or a good stand of grass growing. But it would still be our intention that you are wrapping up the site. You're getting some black dirt down. You're putting your erosion control protections in. So it's not specifically written into the ordinance how many days they have. It's more through the permitting process, the restrictions we put on each individual permit. And they're going to vary widely. Some people are doing work citywide. Some people might be just working in a very specific small location. So our primary objective, though, notification to property owners that are adjacent to the project and expedient installation of the facility and restoration immediately after. So that's our goal when we're reviewing permits.
are we going to try to get more people bearing, various utilities? A lot of them have been, especially electric over time, but there isn't in all areas buried. Are we working to get as much buried as possible, because that does stop outages?
Well, we do like to see people underground their facilities, but we don't have the authority to require it. It's really a decision at the PUC's level. If we want to order that, let's say Xcel Energy has an existing overhead facility and we want them to go underground, we can order that if we're willing to pay for it, but we can't make them incur those costs. That's just not a right that we have. But we do try to, when we're doing reconstruction projects, find ways to bury as many of the utilities as possible from an aesthetic standpoint. We just feel it looks nicer.
Thank you.
Councilmember Aho.
So this is, just for the clarification, this is for public and private property easements. So, for example, we just had Xcel Energy out last week cutting trees, and we have an easement through our backyard. And the contractor that did the work drove his truck right through the middle of our yard and left big truck tracks right through the middle of the yard. So this would be a case where this would be covered and they would be required to remediate that damage that they did. Is that correct?
Well, if there is work that's done in the right-of-way, this chapter, this section of our code is specific to public rights-of-way. So if you can tie whatever work they're doing back to the right-of-way, I think that we have a mechanism to try to force that restoration. If the work is entirely on private property, I don't know that we have a lot of authority to do anything about that. It really becomes a civil matter. But I think we try to look out for our citizens as
No,
best
an
we
attorney?
can.
Oh, yeah.
Might be able to find one. No, I think they're committed to. We met with a representative from Xcel Energy, and they said that they were committed to having their tree vendor remediate it. But I just wanted to have a better understanding of if this ordinance really protects our residents from situations like that.
To a certain extent, and I will add to that Xcel Energy, CenterPoint, they do a lot of work in our community. They have a lot of facilities out in the right of way, and they want to maintain a good relationship with the city. And they have people that are dedicated to government relations, public relations. Usually, when we get a phone call about an issue that might be more private related than public, we still reach out to Xcel and CenterPoint, let them know, because at the end of the day, it's in everybody's best interest if there's a positive outcome. So they do generally work fairly well with us to resolve those matters.
That's good. Thank you.
Good question. Any other questions? Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the first reading of an ordinance amending City Code Section 6.01 through 6.03 and 6.05 through 6.07 relating to the right-of-way.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Is there any other business to bring before the council? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.